Namaste, everyone. Welcome to Holistic Conversations. And today's episode is, how would I say, emotional. We all go through this, and we are finally thinking to attend to this emotion of ours from from an expert who guides us through and walks with us to see the emotion, feel it, and be with it. That's how I would like to put it. Her name is Cathy Carphin, and I love the title that she has put in her website. Let's talk together. So this is already giving us a message of coming together, very inviting, and sharing and listening to each other about that particular emotion that we all feel. That emotion unites us in so many different ways. And without ado, I would like to introduce to you our guest tonight, Cathy Carphin. Namaste, Cathy. Welcome to
Okay,
Holistic Conversations. And I'm really looking forward to talk to you.
me too.
So, why don't we get started with knowing a little bit about you and how you reached to this emotion and how this emotion has become your journey of life, message, mission, vision,
Thank you. Yeah,
destination.
it's been a long journey to be where I am now, and it started. I'm in my 70s, so I've got a lifetime of experience in terms of dealing with life's challenges and its joys. My husband and I were married for 49 years when he died. And I guess the current journey that I'm on, leading to really helping other people navigate this really very common but very personal process of grieving. My husband in 2015 had a stroke. And I guess the first sort of hit for me was that suddenly he wasn't at home. He was in hospital for 6 weeks. And I would try to visit him as often as I could, though I was still working. And when he came home, he was sort of returned to me with having had some, rehab therapy. But he had aphasia, which means that, whatever words might be forming in your mind, you're not able to express them. So his communication was really, really difficult. I didn't know what he was actually thinking because he couldn't tell me. Um, Now, a stroke will affect different people in different ways. We often think of maybe one side of the body being, we can't use it anymore and we have to go through extensive rehab, physical rehab. That was not the case for him. He was still able to dress himself, eat, look after his own needs, but he had lost sort of short-term, and I would say probably mid-term memory. He knew who I was, for which I was very grateful. um, and he could walk down the street to the corner coffee shop and order coffee, but he didn't know how to pay for it. He didn't know how to do a transaction. So these kinds of, decision making and processing skills, he just didn't seem to have them anymore. And he was home, and it was my pleasure really to make sure that his day-to-day experience was as, I guess, normal, as normal as it can be when you have cognitive impairment. But because he was able to follow directions, he could read time, he would anticipate people picking him up and taking him to an event and bringing him home. I was still working through all this.
Wow.
So it was my responsibility really to find him things to do every day that I was at work, and to find people to get him around. Sometimes that was me, but very often it was, formal disability transportation systems in our city.
Mm-hmm.
But, eventually his body began to also fail. And he had more and more challenges just getting through daily life. I ended up having to shave him because he kept missing spots on his face.
Oh.
And he had his eyes were failing. So he was going through a lot of physical changes as well as the mental, brain capability issues. And then he died. He died in 2019. It was a complete surprise to me. He did have collapses. He would just suddenly collapse at random times, and I would always take him to emerge at the local hospital. But they never, I presume they did tests and whatnot, but they never ever told me anything about why he was collapsing. So this final collapse was different because suddenly he was turning blue. He wasn't breathing. I couldn't move him. And he was a big man. I couldn't move him anyway. I always needed him to, be able with my assistance to get up.
Yeah.
In any event, he died. That was not, I think at that point, my biggest question mark in my mind was, clearly his body is beginning to fail. Am I going to have to bring in home care?
Mm-hmm.
Or am I going to be looking for a resident facility to look after him?
Mm-hmm.
And I figured that was a bit of a ways off from that point, but it was something I needed to think about. And I did have a caseworker in our local healthcare system. And I worked with her to make sure that he was being, he was taking advantage of all the facilities that he could.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when he died, as I said, that took me entirely by surprise. I knew I would be sad. The sadness didn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
And I had a very easy time of it in terms of, the sort of institutional logistics that you have to look after when someone dies. And I had lots of people to help me.
Mm-hmm.
But when that is all done,
Yeah.
which could be weeks, months, it differs in different people's lives.
Yeah.
But when that was all done and people sort of settled down and they moved on with events in their own life and world,
Yeah.
I maybe had 2 or 3 or 4 people who I could communicate with on a fairly regular basis, who would check in on me, see how I was doing. And I continued to work for another year and a half or so, almost 2 years after he died. And then COVID, of course, happened.
Yeah.
About 6 months or 6 or 9 months after he died. That was a whole new additional blow to my sense of well-being, because now the community that I did have after he died, now they were, that community was gone. So when I retired, I decided to find out more about this trauma and this grief that I was experiencing. Bear in mind, I'm two and a half or so years out from his death. And I guess somehow internally I thought, it shouldn't feel this bad still. I guess the other thing I should say is that in 2018, before he died, I went through my own cancer diagnosis and treatment for that entire year. And that left me with some my own physical disabilities from the chemo and the radiation. So the grief I was experiencing, I guess I would have to say, was a little bit more complex, perhaps, than a person dying. Although, bear in mind, I've now lost my life partner of 50 years.
Yeah.
So that is in itself a pretty devastating experience. But then I also had this sort of legacy, I suppose, from my cancer therapy that was physically and emotionally. It's not so much that I felt it emotionally, but I was left with a lot of fatigue.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, I decided I should find out more about this because I'm retired. What else have I got to do but try to figure out how to deal with these emotions that I'm trying to cope with. So I took a program on healing trauma because it was certainly a traumatic few years for me. And I joined grief groups, and I joined David Kessler's grief.com.
Oh, wow.
Tender Hearts, he calls it.
Yeah.
That was a wonderful, wonderful resource. And I could talk about that in a few minutes. But I also took his course, which I have to think what it's called now, a grief educator program. So I took that. And, you know, when I was done with that in, I think, the end of 2022, Mamina, I thought, you know, I have been through a lot. I'm still healing from all of this. I'm still recovering. But I feel like, and I'm a writer, so I feel like I need to share. I need to share what I've been through, what I've learned. It's not that I am, you know, certainly David's got a ton more experience in this field. He's been working in it, I think, all his adult life. But my experience is my experience. It can be very useful for other widows, perhaps, to know what I've been through and be able to relate to some of my experiences, maybe cancer survivors. I don't know, but I just really felt like I have a lot to share. And so I opened my Substack, and I've been writing articles in there for at least 2 years, I think, maybe a little bit more. And then I started a YouTube channel last year, and I've been producing videos talking really about grief, the grieving process, and like responses, little pieces of what that's all about. So here I am.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. I mean, life journey. But it's storytelling, I would like to say, because it helps us flow.
Yeah.
And it was nice to hear how life takes you through that, and there's a gift there underlying.
I'm really glad you said that because, you know, I think we learn more from the challenges in our life than we do from when things go well and we're not really pressed to open up, you know, to expand our comfort zone and find out what really we're made of to address these challenges. And some people, you know, we all do things differently. And even though I would say in grief there is a process that happens, but we don't all experience it in the same way. We all have our own approach to dealing with issues, and we have our own life experiences that come to bear in how we handle things.
Yes, yes. And I think what helps us to come out of that situation is that I was listening to you when you said that I need to do something about it, you know. That thought crossing your mind is enlightenment. That's how I understand I perceive thought. If this thought is crossing my mind, what is this, the gift of the thought?
Yeah.
You know? So that's how I approach my thought. Uh, but sometimes we sink into those thoughts and we dwell there for
Yeah.
a very long time.
Yeah.
And until, like you shared, until you choose,
Mm.
there's a choice there, but it's very vulnerable.
Yeah.
And there's a very thin line, like
Mhm.
because you are choosing for yourself, there's so many layers of opinions,
Mhm.
the selfishness thought that it takes a lot to uh, see what we want for ourselves.
It's true, Mamina, and I think honestly, we just have to ride it out. We are going to have valleys that feel like they are impossible to climb out of. But what I want to say about that is accept it for what it is, allow it to happen, and know that it will end, and you will see a way out. You will see the light. You'll know what the next step for you is.
Yeah, allowance.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes, allowance.
The difficulty sometimes is that when we come up to challenges in life, we we avoid them. We we turn aside from them, or we turn them over to somebody else to deal with. But that isn't helping us get through it. It doesn't help us to grow and move on. And as you've said, learn and grow. But it takes time. There is
Mhm.
no there there is no preferred ending date for grief.
No, there's no ending date for anything other than our breath.
Yeah. Yeah.
So nothing ends actually. I don't believe in when people say it has ended. Well, for a moment, that's very momentary, like for now, it's end because I'm doing another thing. So that
Yeah.
thing has paused for a little bit.
It lives with us still. I mean, my husband physically is gone from here. He will never walk through that front door again.
Yeah.
But he's not gone from my memory. He's not
Mm.
gone from my heart.
Yeah.
Um, he will always live as long as I live.
Yes.
And
And
the pain of his passing is not as intense and strong and ever present as it was
yeah.
in the first few months, or even after he died. That does fade.
Yeah.
Um, and I think it fades in part because, you know, we do move on. It's going to get it's going to take us as long as it takes us, and so there's
Yeah.
no judgment for that. It's just that life life surges forward,
Yeah.
it just does. And my choice to take my experiences and my training and share that with whoever it is who wants to know, that was my choice. That was a drive within me that felt significant. And David Offit's, in fact, another book after the work he did with Elizabeth Kubler-Ross,
Mm-hmm.
Finding Meaning. And
Yeah.
for him, that is not the final step, but it is certainly a really, really important step. And finding meaning doesn't mean you have to start a foundation.
Yeah.
It just means that for your own personal life,
That's right.
you have to move forward.
Yeah. And there's only moving forward, like that's what it may be painful because we always talk about attachment, but
Mhm.
I don't think uh, it's an agenda for life. It's not an agenda for which life stops. No, it
Yeah.
can be your agenda to hold on to things,
Yeah.
but otherwise, life is always forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
Life is always forward. And it's wonderful to talk to you about this because I have seen my mother going through that process, when my father left his body.
Yeah.
Um, is shocking. It was absolutely to see someone leave their body in front of you,
Uh,
like
yeah.
in the next moment. Anyways, we are not going to talk a lot about that because we know, and let us just keep that knowing within us.
Mhm.
And everybody has their own experience. So I'm talking out of my experience seeing my mother.
Yeah.
Her grief was much more than me and my brother,
Yeah.
and it was different for all three of us
Mhm.
altogether.
Mhm.
So we at first thought that we will fill the gap, me and
Mm.
my brother. We used to always do things that my father would do for my mom, like take her out, take her out for dinner, take her out for ice cream, buy her something, talk to her, make her laugh, do so many things. But then we failed.
Mm.
And then we realized we don't need to do that. She can miss him.
Yeah.
She can remember him. She can cry for him. She can still use the same sheet, same pillow, same perfume,
Mm.
same food, and we started living it that way. That way, she was more alive within us. So because they loved each other so much,
Mm.
it was separation was a punishment. I would say, like if we say that he's gone, why are you sad? That's
Mm.
not the right approach.
Mm.
So we started to tell her, do more of what makes you happy. Eat
Mm.
more of that if you feel like you are missing him. Make more that food. We all want to eat that.
Yeah.
Like my brother would wear my father's shirt sometimes, like, and I would smell his shirt for hours together. Hours together. Oh my God. I mean, I can never forget. I still have his shirt. I still have his pen. I have his writing and everything I have. And those are all materialistic things, but when he's in my heart,
They're
that
important.
is it. That is
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
That is it.
If
So
I could just say a
so it's
couple of
a
things about
yep.
two people who are supporting
Yeah.
someone who is grieving.
Yeah.
We all want that person to feel better. We all
Yeah.
want them to come alive again because, boy, in early grief, you really you're not who you were,
Yeah.
and you won't be possibly ever again. You will be better, you'll improve, but something very significant within your life has changed. And those around that person want them to be better. We want them not to hurt.
Yeah.
The reality is they're going to hurt. And so the most important thing I would say that we can do to help someone who's grieving, whatever that grief might be, is to let them talk about it.
Yes.
Let them share the things that they need to share. And it may come out as anger, it might come out with tears, it might come out with crying, might even come out with laughter.
Yeah, of course. Yes. We don't consider that, but that's a main part of it. You
Yeah,
have laughed together. Why don't we celebrate that?
exactly. Yeah. So that was the biggest thing we can do to support is just let them talk. Let them talk
Yeah.
about the person, let them talk about how they feel. And if there are things that we can do, as you've said with your family, about not being afraid to live the life that you shared with that person, to
Yeah.
share the food, to keep their clothes, whatever those significant issues are, let that happen.
Yeah.
It's going to change in its own time. We
Hmm.
all do it differently. There's some people who just like kind of seem to be ignoring the whole thing, but
Yeah. Yeah.
that isn't how they're feeling inside. It's just how it shows on the outside.
Yeah. That's right. And I think this is also a taboo, like in some culture.
Mm.
So we cannot say that. I mean, I cannot say that I know everything about grief because um, grief is related to rooted in culture. So everybody understands it in a different way, and the way of expression is also different. Like for men, uh, like I know my brother, he would cry. He cannot cry on my mother because
Mm.
he didn't wanted to see her sad because of him crying, but he we would talk to each other and he would cry, and I would receive his crying and we both would cry together. We have been through that, and I feel I mean, my brother was courageous enough to open his heart up to me and cry, in front of me.
Yeah.
And I feel very good about it that he is so vulnerable, and that quality is precious for me. That
Oh,
quality is precious.
I'm really happy that he is that way.
Yeah.
It's not common for men to
No.
want to open up about their feelings
Yeah.
if they can with somebody close to them or with people who've been going through the same thing they're going through. So much better, so much more healing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And we both have cried together.
Yeah.
So it was a good reuniting for us,
Mm.
like bringing, bonding again together for different reason.
Yeah.
But it bonded us really well, and we could back each other up at
Yeah.
times. Like it became so evident that when he would say hello, I would know what mood he is in, what is his emotion. And when I would call him, he would sense my breathing and he would say, okay, let's talk. So
Mm.
we never really had to depend on outside world
Mm.
to talk and share, even though we had friends. But it was the healing took place in really close knit in between him and me. Of course, I had my husband, he had his wife, so uh, that is also there. Uh, Nothing against anybody, but it's a brother sister relationship,
Yeah.
and it can be better.
Mm.
It can be loving, it can be caring,
Mm.
and that's what I wanted to share.
Mhm.
By the way, no love can be compared to each other. Like my love for my father cannot be compared to my love for my mother, cannot be
Thank
compared to
you.
my love for my brother, cannot be compared to my love for my husband, for my son.
Yeah.
Every relationship, love is different in definition. So we cannot compare, we should not be comparing.
Thank you for saying that because just as love around each individual that comes into our world, you can't, they aren't really comparable because that individual isn't the same as the other
Yeah,
individuals.
yeah, yeah,
We can't compare our grief either.
yeah, we cannot.
No.
Yeah, nothing can be compared. It's so unique and beautiful.
Yeah. Because we are who we are and there is nobody else like we are.
That's right. That's the whole point of my podcast.
Well, good. Yes.
Thank you for sharing that. I had a question in my mind. Like you said, you actually uh, journeyed through grief with your life experience with your husband.
Mhm.
You know, how was your childhood? Otherwise, I mean,
Right.
uh, is it anything that reflects in your adult life now, or anything that you go back to in your childhood to get some treasure from your childhood, or like you flip through the pages of your childhood, like
Very often. And it's so interesting that you should raise that because the reflecting back on my childhood happened after my husband died. And there were many, many things that I had to sort through internally. I mean, 50 years I'd spent with him, and he really was my soft landing in dealing with the external world, right? And so I really had to explore that at some point. And I would say maybe in the last 2 or 3 years, I've come to a better understanding of how my childhood impacted my interaction with the world as a working person, as a wife, as a friend, as someone who would go into social spaces. And now here I am, a widow. Honestly, Mamina, I never lived alone until my husband died. So this was a real awakening for me as well. And that in part caused me to think back on my childhood. And my childhood was pretty normal for a kid being raised in the 50s here in North America. My parents made sure I was clothed and fed, and that my skills and interests were being expanded. So they gave me lots of things to do. I went to camp, summer camp, and my dad built me a drafting table so I could do artwork. And, he built me a rink in the backyard so I could go skating in the backyard instead of about 10 blocks down to the local recreation center.
That's amazing.
So they did things like that for me. But I will say this, Mamina, I didn't understand until the last couple of years what was missing in my childhood. My parents never congratulated me on anything. I was never praised for accomplishing something. I was never praised for, well, really anything. They never hugged me. There was no touching in between parents and kids. I was an only child up to about, I don't know, the age of 8 or 9, and then suddenly 3 sisters showed up in the following years. And I helped my mom in the sense that I fed those babies. I mean, not entirely, but, I was a support. I changed their diapers. I fed them. I burped them. I played with them, all those things. And, but I didn't bond with them. And I wasn't sure how much of that was a lack of the parenting that I received in terms of that bonding experience, that emotional bonding. But the impact of that kind of rearing, I have to say, I should back up a little bit. The support I got, the sense of accomplishment and doing well, came from my teachers, my schooling, not my parents. So I found that quite interesting. Anyway, it did impact how I viewed the world. Like I guess I perceived as a kid, my job as a kid was to get good grades.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't what's the word I'm looking for? I do remember in grade 4, there were 2 sisters who were new to the community. They were new in our class. And I have to say, the pressure at home for them must have been incredibly intense, because if they did not get A's on anything they did, it was clearly a disaster for them, an emotional disaster, right? I was never pressured in that way, ever, but I certainly knew that I needed to get good grades. I wasn't punished for not getting A's, I will say that. In any event, what that did for me is when I went out into the working world, I always felt this need to achieve, to not only to achieve according to my own values, which I always worked according to my own values, but I also wanted feedback from the people that I worked for and worked with. And if that didn't happen, I would think that there was something wrong with me or my work. Whereas, now that I look back on it, it's just the way the working world is, or what certainly was at the time. It wasn't anything personal. So for sure, the way we're raised impacts how we interface in the world and how we make friends and keep friends. All of those things are so important.
Yeah, very important. And I feel like we don't miss them during our 20s or 30s when we're busy with
Mm.
married with children and until they grow up and become independent when we have a free time, we just revisit them uh, all of a sudden, and then you see that you're a different person now. Oh my God, what happened to me?
Well, that certainly was my experience. When I met my husband and married, and we were both sort of carving out our place in the world, that's where your attention gets focused, right? I didn't really think anything at all about my childhood until, as I say, the last 2 or 3 years, when I'm reflecting back on really life in general.
Yeah. And maybe because you're writing your book, that's why more.
Actually, I do talk. Well, I'm not sure I talk about. No, I don't talk about my childhood upbringing in my book. I talk
No?
really about. No,
Okay, so there'll be a second book.
I think so. Okay. Well, I am writing a second one on fatigue. I'm hoping it'll be out in January, possibly February. And
Wow.
then a couple of people have asked me to do a collection of my articles, so I might do that
Mhm.
in the spring.
I think it will be interesting to read about fatigue because we don't often,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I sort of felt like I was the poster child for fatigue but I do hear from people who have been through very similar experiences. And I'll give you an example of what I'm speaking of. So when my husband died, I was still working. I was still driving my car to and from work. But I would have to pick up groceries on my way home from work because I could not bring myself to go out of the house until I had to. I'm either
Yeah.
meeting someone for coffee or I'm going to work. Once I'm home, it was really difficult for me to even think about getting back in my car.
Wow.
And so I mean, it was partly physical fatigue. I was just happy to be home for 2 days when I didn't have to
Oh,
get out and about. But it was also emotional fatigue, still
okay.
coming up, perhaps, in a way of speaking, from the intensity of early grief.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I feel like we have made certain words, like which we hear them more, but not necessarily they are the right word for that situation. When
Mm.
you say fatigue, I feel like we are missing out on rest.
Yeah. Hmm.
That's a very thin line because when I also do counseling,
Hmm.
uh, volunteering. Basically, I'm learning. I did some course on grief, and I do counseling a little bit.
Hmm.
When someone said that I'm tired, so I asked them, "Are you relaxed or you're tired?"
Hmm.
That's a very tough question for them to answer. Like, what do you mean? They tell me, what do you mean? You are, uh, because from their breath, I feel that they are releasing something which is very relaxing. But at the same time, they are tired, like, because that's a deep breath. They have to really exhale, really, like with all their strength. So I really don't know. People have forgotten to use the word rest more often, and they say that it's like very tiring because doing nothing is really difficult. It's really difficult, but there is a possibility that that fatigue is there, but sometimes it could be like you haven't rested for such a long time, and then um, you feel like when you've rested for a little bit, you feel like you're laid back or you're just falling behind. Those kind of symptoms uh, pokes you here and there.
Yeah, fatigue is pretty complex, and it can
Mm,
arise from a variety of reasons. Could be
yeah.
illness. It could be trauma. It could be just living a lifestyle that's too hectic and
Mm,
not allowing your body and your brain really to
yeah.
rest
Yeah.
and relax. And I agree, deep breathing, focused breathing is so, so, so important. It
Yeah.
restores oxygen and other good hormone production in the body to
Yeah.
help it heal from whatever fatigue you're feeling. And fatigue is different than being tired.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Preview for my next book. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I can certainly speak to the fatigue that I felt. And my
Yeah.
fatigue, the thing about fatigue is it starts in your brain.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're feeling stressed, if you're coping with trauma, and it's long term, the brain's chemistry changes and it stops producing, or at least it reduces the production of endorphins and oxytocin, those things, and it increases the production of cortisol to give you the opportunity to run away or fight a battle, right? That is the function of the brain. The more those fight or flight hormones are flooding your system, they're affecting your heart, your lungs, your muscles, your stomach, all of your important, really functioning systems.
Yeah.
The more that cortisol is in your system, it's making changes in your physicality, and that is fatigue. Your
Okay. So
body is struggling because it's not receiving all the healthy hormones that it needs.
so it lacks flexibility then?
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there are things that we can do. We don't have to struggle with it all the time. I am recovering from fatigue. My fatigue was complicated because it was a result of grief, and it was a result of my cancer therapy. It has a physical outcome from chemical intervention as well as my own, brain functioning. But, treated over time, consistently, drinking water, breathing properly, getting good deep breaths on a fairly consistent basis. You don't want to like hyperventilate or anything, but
Yeah. Yeah.
just moving. I mean, I don't care how much you move now. I
Yeah.
mean, even if you like can't get out of bed, at least get up, go to the bathroom, get a drink of water, do a little cycle around your space. And if you
Yeah.
have to go back and lay down, then do it. I mean, honor your body's present needs, but these things can happen slowly. If you
Mm-hmm.
don't feel like eating, at least eat some fruit, try and get some protein, something, just
Yeah.
do something, because those little somethings add up to recovery.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing from you is like change. Change is
Yeah.
difficult.
Yeah.
Change
Oh,
is difficult. Yeah.
yeah.
So it's like baby steps.
Baby steps. Great way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah. And along with baby steps, it is willingness
Hmm. Yeah.
and choice.
Yeah. Entirely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's important to know that we have choices. We don't
Yes.
need to succumb to our current feelings, however intense or oppressive they might be.
Yeah.
We, yeah, we have to acknowledge them and give them voice, but
Yeah.
we also have to temper that with knowing we do have choice. Things do change.
Yeah. 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 So you are a living example of uh, living that fatigue and then knowing that and working towards coming out of that situation.
Yeah.
And so, everyone who is listening, change is possible. She made it.
Well, I'm a work in progress. I have come a long way. There's no question about it, and I have more to go.
Yeah, that's for everyone. That's for everyone. But she's a testament because she's talking out of her. She's writing a book about it. So think about her. What do you say? Her vision. I would say like She really want people to come out of it because she could do it. So you can do it.
Yeah.
Everything is doable. That's what she says.
I'd like to say I did it so you don't have to, but sorry, life doesn't work that way.
Yeah, 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 that's
You're
right.
going to experience what you're going to experience. I just want you to know there is hope at the end of it, what can sometimes be a pretty devastating process.
Yeah,
There's a way out.
there's a way out. Uh, there's light in the end of the tunnel. This too shall pass.
Yes, absolutely, Mamina.
That's wonderful to know. And it was nice talking to you. And thank you for sharing your childhood memories. And like you said, they were put aside for quite a long time. And then all of a sudden, after 70 years or 60, after 60 years, you started to get
70 years. Yeah, yeah. I'm older than 70.
Wow. So I was reading today something, and it said that our memory lasts for 70 years, 70.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm doing
So,
well then because I have a pretty good memory.
yes. Yeah. I mean, okay, you didn't visit. That doesn't mean it's not there.
Yeah.
So when you go now, you find that there's a puzzle over there and there's a puzzle over here. When you visit, they meet.
Yeah. Well, I would love people to look up my YouTube videos because, especially right now, with year-end celebrations and all the pressures and decisions that we have to make,
Mm.
I've shared a few of my childhood memories actually on my YouTube channel, just to as a little gift, little year-end holiday gift. Yeah.
I have one more question.
Yeah.
Since you are a grief coach,
Mm.
what is the very common grief that people are dealing with? A common cause for grief.
Common cause.
Yeah.
Well, I think we think about grief as arising because we've lost someone who is dear to us.
Mm-hmm.
There are many reasons to grief. We don't always recognize it. So if we've lost a job, we've
Yeah.
been forced to move out of our home,
Yeah.
we've been forced to leave our country.
Yeah.
A lot of folks are grieving over the social and political climate these days.
Yeah.
We don't think of it as grief, but it
Yeah.
is
It
grief.
is.
It's a change in what we thought our world was supposed to be, and now it isn't. And there are things beyond our control that we simply have to deal with in our own way for our own well-being.
Yeah. That's right.
But having said that, I do say, do what you need to do. Express your feelings because they need to be expressed. But I guess the caveat against all of that is
Yeah.
don't hurt yourself and don't
Yeah.
hurt other people.
Yeah. I just want to say here that for some, we can understand that we shouldn't be hurting others.
Yeah.
But for some, it's like when they express their hurt and they see their expression, visual, after a couple of repetitions, I think they understand that, okay, I mean, we should not be doing this, or there are different ways to it. So that's how the pattern keeps cycling, until we understand, because everybody is different and
Yeah.
everybody has their own way. For some, it's already in the value system or in the culture or in the way you're brought up or in the way you receive information from outside world, or you like to treat yourself like that, so you are treating the other with care and compassion, but not everybody has received that care and compassion. So it's the world is different,
Yeah.
people are different, and we are here to help each other learn about each other. So this is a, very diverse experience of
Yeah.
all of us for all of us, you know.
I think
Uh,
I think we don't intentionally.
no
There
intention, no.
there is a difference between intentionally hurting other people
Yes,
and
yes,
yourself
yeah,
versus it being a sort of an accidental side effect.
yeah,
And if that happens, it's up to us to apologize, make amends,
yeah,
however it is to sort of resolve the dissonance that's occurred.
yeah.
Yeah. I guess
Mm.
when I was putting as a caveat, I was thinking, like, don't intentionally lash
Yes,
out at other
absolutely.
people to hurt them or yourself.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, but there is also a situation where intentionally things happen.
Oh, okay.
They happen because, uh, as you say, the emotion takes over.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what we are seeing in the world right now, you know.
Yeah.
Something is taking over.
Yeah.
And we have coaches like Kathy who tries to help us understand you do not have to let your emotion ride over you. Well,
Yeah.
it's if it's love, then go for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, the
Without love, there is no grief.
without love there is no grief.
Mhm.
Wow. Paradox together.
Well,
Duality.
how can you grieve something you don't care about?
Yes,
We
that's
don't.
right.
We don't.
Yeah. So
But
if
if
you're
it's very close to us. So let me say a friend of your friend dies, you're going to
yeah,
be sad about that for them on their behalf, even, or even just the fact that somebody in your circle, as wide as it might be, has died.
yeah,
But you don't grieve. Grieving is a much more complex and deep process, and
yeah,
we grieve because we loved.
yeah, yeah. We agree because we loved. So that's a gift.
A very big gift, yeah.
Yeah. So I think this episode is concluded well uh, with this particular thought
Hmm,
that without love, there's no grief. So they come together.
they do.
They do come together.
Yeah,
And if you are grieving, think about what you love.
yeah,
And if you love, you do not have to think about grieving, but you will feel sad if something goes wrong
mm,
with that person or with that thing that you love, and you can feel it.
yeah. Well said, Mamina. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. It was wonderful talking to you.
And you.
I thought, I was thinking like how our episode is going to unfold, but it was wonderful.
Good.
It
Very
was
pleased to have been
wonderful.
here.
Thank you very much. And we'll talk again more about fatigue when her book is here.
Okay.
Because I personally have not read any book on fatigue, so I'm really
Okay. Good to
curious.
know. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I
And
will
thank you
let
for
you know when
sharing.
it's ready for publishing. How's that?
Yeah, keep updating us.
Yeah.
And we wish you a very merry and happy Christmas
Thank you.
and a new year.
Mhm.
And best wishes for your book.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Namaste. Thank you.
Namaste.
Thank you.